"25 years ago, when I had the fun and the privilege of starting MEC, one of the things that was part of the vision that I had was that the church could once again become the patron of the arts, that this would be a place where the arts would flourish and the arts would have a place for communicating the truth of Christ to a world that may not have any knowledge at all of Christ. And so whether it is through music, whether it is through dance, whether it is through drama, whether it is through film, which is probably the most growing medium that we're wanting to develop even more than we already are. A lot of people don't know that almost everything they see at MEC in terms of video has been self-produced. But we need people who are artists of any form, who are willing to support the arts, who are willing to be behind the stage with arts, to come forward. Because we really do have a vision of being the patron of the arts. You know, the church used to be that back in the Middle Ages. It was the church that was financing and behind and the centerpiece of most of the music that we know today, whether it was written by Bach or Mozart or so many others, and the great paintings, whether it was Michelangelo or others. We lost that somehow along the way. And I've always wanted to see the church recapture its central place for the arts.
Well, it was actually my first weekend at MEC, and they announced from the stage that they needed volunteers to serve, and I decided that I was not going to do it. So I sat in the message, and I have no idea what the message was about because I was arguing the whole time with God, saying, I don't want to do this. This is my first weekend. I'm not ready. They don't need anybody. They've got all the spots filled and everything. And then by the end of the service, I lost the argument.
I never played until I got here to MEC. And you guys had reached out, something like we're doing now, and just say, hey, we need you. You know, God has given you a gift and we need you to be on our team and to serve. And I just said, he's talking to me, you know, he's calling me out. I've got the space, I've been wanting to serve him. And I just felt convicted, you know.
But I will be honest, when I came here, I was a little intimidated. I really was. I mean, by the amazing talent that I saw weekend after weekend.
Over the years, I've played with a lot of different people, a lot of different bands, and a lot of different venues, and nothing has been more invigorating or fulfilling than this.
I just kept feeling this tap on the back of my shoulder like you need to go up there and do it, so packed up my stuff and came up here.
Looking back on it, you know, I've kind of developed aspirations to be a drummer, but a couple years ago when I hadn't gotten plugged in and everything, I would have never thought, like, a drummer, like full-time? Like, you never even played in front of people. You haven't played songs in front of people, like, in a band. So, that exposure and these experiences have really kind of fed the flame and really inspired me.
If you know that you have a gift and you are sitting on that gift, you're sitting on that talent that is not doing anybody any good, and you could be helping this collection of people know God through you.
I thought that MEC didn't need me, that they had plenty, and also I was worried about the time commitment because I was a new mom and you know, my family was my focus.
We're trying to be a reflection of Christ. It's not about us, you know, and what we're doing. It's, you know, the goal is to turn the attention back towards God. And so when I'm up there leading, I pray through it that people aren't just looking at me, but they're seeing what Christ means for my life and like what he could mean for theirs.
We get to tell the greatest story ever told with one of the most powerful tools in the world, and which is art. And so when we do that, amazing things happen. People's lives get changed, people's worlds get rocked, and God just works through that. He works through artists who are obedient to use their gifts in that way.
It might be something that we're not offering yet, and we're not offering it because we don't have you.
There are so many people that have been great role models for me. And I think I learned something new every rehearsal and every service.
There will always be reasons not to get involved. I was down here just for the summer when I first came down here, and I was only here for like 3 months, and that was a reason enough to not get involved. You know, like I had a million reasons. I wasn't even living here, but I did, and it changed my life, literally. I moved halfway across the country to be in a place where I felt like God was moving.
Jump in and like kick things off when you're young, because a lot of people kind of regret not doing that.
There is no excuse big enough that should hinder you from doing this.
I had a little bit of a musical background. I took drum lessons when I was much younger, very elementary type drum lessons, like playing on the buckets and stuff like that. And then I kind of didn't touch music for a long time. But I wanted to be able to fill a need, if needed, for a drummer. So that just required extra hard work and being able to give all the gifts that I can back to the church and use them as I can, even if it means working hard and maybe stepping outside the comfort zone a little bit and trying to do that.
It is the best thing. I wish I could do it 24/7.
Whatever you do, it's needed here.
You know, we'd do rap if we had rappers. We'd do poetry if we had a poet. We'd have dancers if we had them, but they hadn't come yet.
I was given the permission to insert my personality into the music. And so I could play like me. I didn't have to try to sound like somebody else.
What I did not think about was the fact as my children would then see me in a role that honors God, and that they would want to be a part of honoring God.
We have so many deep relationships on this team. Like, this is the first place I got plugged into MEC, and so this is how I met people. And now, you know, they're some of my best friends.
The camaraderie is so strong and it's so real.
You know, whatever that I have that I can offer to the kingdom, I want to be able to give that over to him. And how selfish it would be to have these gifts, right, and not use them in the church, not give them back to him.
Knowing that when we all get together on weekend that we could potentially impact someone's life, I don't know even how to describe how significant that is.
The family that comes with it, and building relationships and stuff, and people that you know you can turn to and trust, I think that's really a big thing.
I've been a part of this team now for 6 years, so through college, part of high school, and now coming out into the adult world of having to work full time and just talking through all those changes with them is huge.
Whenever we bring our amazing gifts and unique gifts and talents that God has given us and we put it all together, I found that it's so amazing, and it's like this beautiful mosaic of worship that is just inspiring.
If you can push a space bar, I think, you know, there's a place.
You can easily put the demands of this world first.
We grow together and we challenge each other, you know, in our artistic ability and in personal life.
And I think it's just knowing the need, knowing the importance, and knowing the significance you could have in the process of all of this. That's kind of the game changer.
I think my favorite part about serving is knowing that I'm doing something that has purpose.
Do what you do, you know, like this is what you have, so go make the most of it.
I can honestly say all my best friends are through the creative arts team that I have met.
I mean, to me, there's nothing better.
You're not going to regret it. It will change your life.
It means so much more than I could even put into words.
I can't explain how much it means to me. You know, like this was the best decision I made when I started attending MEC. is to get involved on this team.
So if you're an artist, this is my personal invitation to you to step forward and become part of this team. Get off of the sidelines. Was that in the early days of the church, we had a situation where our arts team got decimated, and we just kind of had less and less, and it was going to be down to Trax and me and my kazoo. And so I remember I got up and I made a plea. If you are an artist, if you're a musician, if you're a sound person, tech, film, whatever, we need you. And I remember these two guys came up afterward. And they both were professional musicians. One was a drummer, one was a guitarist. And they said, oh, well, if you need some help, we'll be happy to help. And I said, where have you been all this time? Why haven't you stepped forward before now? And they said, we didn't think you needed anybody. Looks like everything was covered. And I just wanted to go, Argh! So to those of you who are sitting there thinking we've got it all covered, no, we don't. And second, we also are desperate in need for expansion. I've often told people, people said, why don't you do more sites than you do? Leaders, artists, it takes people to do these things. So please step forward.